Welcome to Bigger Than You, the podcast to help you go from overwhelm, self-doubt and scarcity in your business to the calm, grounded and unshakably confident version of you that's going to bring your vision to life. You've got a mission and a purpose that's bigger than you and your limiting stories and beliefs. So let's get you out of your own way. I'm Jenna Holloway, your host and multi-award-winning intuitive hypnotherapist and mindset coach. Expect to hear game-changing perspective shifts on how to align your subconscious mind with your boldest goals, and will unlock the power of energetics, infusing it into every aspect of your life and business for maximum impact. Are you ready? Then let's dive in. This is the amazing Emily, and she has been working with me for, I think, 3 and a bit months now. And yeah, I wanted to do this live really to celebrate you and to really share with everybody who watches how far you have come in just such a short time. So would you first of all share where your business and your mindset was at when we first started working together?
Yeah, of course. So it's really interesting because we've known each other for a long time, and I've been working with you as an OBM. And I feel like my mindset was in a pretty good place. I have quite positive mental chatter and self-talk, and being in your world meant that I was kind of subconsciously supported by you and the work that you do. But there was like an underlying element of anxiety and like a sicky feel, like a physical feeling of like feeling resistance or heaviness, or just like an anxiety around the things that I was doing in business. So if I had to have a difficult conversation with a client, but even just like sometimes posting content, there would be like an anxiety in my body that was like, that's not quite right, and that's not what I'm here for. And I knew that when I started my business and was, went full time in business, and I knew I was on the right trajectory and I had a really exciting path ahead of me, but I didn't want it to feel uneasy, and I didn't want anything to be holding me back. And I realized that physical feeling of like nervousness was probably capping me at a level that I wasn't going to be able to push through unless I dealt with it. So that's kind of where I was before I jumped into working with you.
Yeah. And what kind of, like, how much of an effect did it have? I'm just going to move towards my ring light because my space is really dark. What kind of effect did it have, like, in your sort of daily working week? How did you recognize you were holding yourself back?
Yeah, it was like taking a lot of time to do things. So if I had a message to send to a client or something, not even challenging to do, but something that made me feel a little bit nervous, I'd spend all week like mulling over it. And like if there was a bit of content that I'd written, but then I thought, should I say that? I'd spend all week thinking about it, so I wouldn't post it. So that it was stretching my timeline. Like I could see that it was physically slowing me down from doing the things I wanted to do, because I was spending a long time processing and overthinking everything instead of just like going for it with full trust.
Yeah. And did you find that you were thinking about that at times when you weren't even working?
Yeah, definitely. Like I remember standing in the kitchen and I'd like finished work for the day, but I wanted to post a reel. I had one in draft, but I was sat staring at it for ages for no reason whatsoever, other than the fact that I was just overthinking, is this the right thing to say? Is it going to put somebody off? Like, and it wasn't even it wasn't controversial, but it was just an overthinking thought that I couldn't let go. So it meant it was spilling over into time that I didn't need to be thinking about work stuff. And when it comes to like having a conversation with a client, if you're overthinking that email that you're writing over and over again into the evening, when it could have just been sent and dealt with on a Monday and not even affecting the rest of the week.
Yeah. And it's so crazy as well, because you would write like absolutely fire content in my voice. Like you would listen to my podcast episodes and you'd be able to write like content, like repurposing from my episodes and stuff. And I had no idea, like when you reached out to work with me and like I read your onboarding form, I had absolutely no idea. So it just goes to show how you can really hide like inner kind of the fears and the insecurities.
Yeah, and I would overthink my work way more than yours. So like with clients, like I would write emails for you and write content for you, and I'd just be like, okay, I think that's really good, and then I'd send it to you and I'd get great feedback, and it was really positive. But when it came to my own stuff, it was just, I just had a different maybe like self-doubt kind of cycle going on.
Yeah, and that makes so much sense, because subconsciously, if you're, writing for somebody else, it's like they're visible, not you. But when you're writing content and putting your own business out there, that fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of what other people think, all of those things are real fears on a subconscious level.
Yeah.
And they will be holding you back. So that's why, like, we feel this resistance, because the subconscious really just doesn't care. I know you know this, but for the people watching, the subconscious doesn't care about your dreams or like your big vision. It just wants to keep you safe. And so that's why we feel resistance and we hold ourselves back, even when we don't realize we are doing it at times. So what made you realize then that doing the subconscious work was the right investment for you?
I think, I mean, I've been like immersed in your world for so long that I'd seen the transformations and the kind of the testimonials, and I knew that it was real, and that it was, you know, because I was so involved in you and the work that you do, and so it felt like the natural next step. And I think because there's so much out there around strategy, and a lot of the work I do for clients is around strategizing, so I knew I could make a plan for whatever route I wanted to go down, and I'd be able to follow it. I can follow plans and I can do that, but I wanted to do it feeling safe and comfortable and like at ease with it. And I knew that that piece was subconscious, and that piece was like a mindset thing. It wasn't like needing a roadmap to success. I knew I could figure out what to put on paper, but I wanted to do it and not stress about it, for it to feel easy. And that is exactly what I knew you would be able to support me with.
Amazing. And what made you pick me as opposed to somebody else that could help you with the subconscious work?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even shop around. Like, I wasn't I wasn't looking for anyone else, because I was so involved in like the inside of your business. Like, there isn't a better place to be than as like a VA or an OBM or in somebody's business, and see from the inside out that someone is like walking their walk, and like, and it's genuine. And so I think for me to be able to see the way that you operate as a business owner, as as a CEO, as a coach for other people, and all of it lines up, and that the testimonials that were coming in were because of the way that you were operating. I knew that I wanted to run a business with that same transparency across like every single person that I communicate with, whether it's someone in my team, someone that I'm working with, or just the way I talk about my business. Like, there's no smokes and mirrors. Like, everything that you do is authentic, and I want to feel like I can operate just as me, not having to put on a different hat for different roles.
Yeah, and it's so liberating, isn't it, to that work? I feel like I want to ask an example, because what I champion is success from a place of ease and flow, and like reprogramming the subconscious narrative that so many entrepreneurs unfortunately have, and that is success has to be hard work. To reprogram that to, no, success actually can be fun and can come with ease and doesn't have to take over your life. Like, I'm a mum to twins, and so that's my message. And as you've just said, like, I embody that. But can you think of an example that you saw for as working or in my business, and therefore speaking to me in things behind the scenes? Can you think of an example that kind of portrays that? You were like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, and this is a while ago. You might not even remember this, but there was one time when I was like helping you build out like a Kartra sales page thing, and there was a video. It was for a masterclass. There was a video that was supposed to go in there, and Kartra was just like tech issue central. It wasn't uploading. I was stressing because I knew we'd wanted it to be finished by the end of the week, and it was just going round and round in circles. And you replied back to me and just said, like, divine timing is a thing. If it's not working, it's not working. Do this next week. And I was like, knowing I had to rush out of the door, wanting to do this work for you. And then I thought, like, yeah, duh. Like, if you're not gonna stress yourself out over it, I'm not gonna stress myself out over it. And actually, like, I knew that you valued me and my work more than to be like, yeah, Emily, sit and wait for these tech issues to sort themselves out.
Yeah.
Because like with this, it's bigger than this. Like, there's something more going on here. Like, it's doing things at the right time in a way that feels good. And because you operate your business like that, you would never want me as someone that works within your team to operate like that. And I just felt like, yeah, those are the values I hold. And now I have team members. I would never want them to feel like that either. And so it all just kind of, yeah, it made sense. And I think we connected in that way.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. What would you say your biggest breakthrough has been since doing this work?
There are loads. There are so many. There's like the tangible stuff, like financial stuff. There's been so much that has changed in the past couple of months. and like up levels. I think I was so surprised how quickly stuff happened. It was actually pretty wild the way that everything worked out literally within the first couple of weeks. But I think the biggest thing for me has been feeling like I embody the person that I like want to be in business, and feeling confident, like saying what I do and who I am and what I bring to the table in a different way. And I think because in the online space we kind of make up we don't make them up, that's not true, but we kind of make up our own job roles, and like we decide what our remit is, like completely, compared to my experience in the corporate world where you put in a box and you have to apply to be in a different box, and if you don't get it you put back where you're told to be. And actually we get complete free reign over who we decide to be and what we decide to offer people, but you've got to be able to do it with like conviction and confidence. And I think working with you has allowed me to feel confident in what I offer on like a deep level, not like a surface level. Yeah, I can do this if you want. Like a no, I do this and I do it well. And that's
Yeah.
been like absolutely game changing for what I offer and how I support people.
Yeah. Amazing. We both know how the trajectory of your business has just been like woof, very, very quickly. But can you speak to the people watching, like what's actually happening?
Yeah, so we started working together in September, and I quit my job and went full time in business in August. So I knew the timing of that was intentional, that I wanted to be supported through the transition from full time work plus running a business that I'd been managing for a year, basically running off adrenaline, to being able to actually ease into running a business and wanting to enjoy it. And so we started in September. And that meant that I could have gone into September thinking I need clients, I need to prove that this is a thing, I need to prove that I can be a business owner and that this can work. And within 2 weeks I was fully booked and I'd like tripled my income, and it was wild.
It was amazing. Yeah, it was so good. I also remember a really important conversation we had in Voxer around really managing that transition carefully from working full time and having your business to no, well, no, you don't have a full time job anymore. So let's really be intentional about how you are using your time, because it really doesn't need to carry on the way it has been crazy this past year.
Yeah, definitely. Like I still had in my mind this like mindset of, okay, I've got a spare hour, let me do some work, because for a year that was my reality, and that's okay for that period of time, but I didn't need to stay in that zone. I didn't need to be scrambling for like an hour here, I can fit in some client work. Like I just had in my head that I would work on Saturday mornings because my boyfriend's at work, I can do this free time. And I remember we had a conversation and you were like, just go out, like just do what you want to do. You don't need to work on a Saturday because it feels like you should, because I have been doing for so long. And actually I've like completely switched up I don't work on a Monday now. And part of me previously had thought, oh, but Mondays are really great days to work because my clients are getting back into work after the weekend. They need a lot of stuff on a Monday. So maybe I should work on Mondays because it suits them. But actually the reality is Mondays suit me to have off. So I'm going to have that time off, and that's how my week works.
Yeah, that's just one example of how you have massively up leveled from the inside out, and like how you hold yourself has been reflected in the growth of the type of clients that you bring in, and just the types of conversations that you end up having with your clients and how that's evolved. Can you speak to us a little bit more about, because people pleasing is such a huge issue for a lot of business owners, and we've definitely worked on that. Like, what's been the tangible outcomes that you've seen from doing this work together?
Yeah, definitely. I think because of and a lot of service providers will probably relate to this, especially if their job history has been similar to mine. So, like being a PA in the past, anything to do with kind of serving other people, there's often this habit that you have to drop everything to please everybody, and just serve and serve and serve and do everything you can to make other people happy, and not actually take into account your own skill set or experience. And I think the shift for me has been that I can offer value even if it's not what somebody really wants to hear. And so I can offer value when it's not just like helping someone to make them really happy, but when it's like, actually, could we do it this way, or challenging something, or really kindly suggesting a new way of working. And so taking on that role has meant that I now offer like strategy sessions, VIP days with people that are not my current clients. But in the past, I would have only offered those things to current clients because I kind of felt like I knew them, they know I'm nice, like they know I'm all right, I'm a kind person. And it's kind of like they had that, it was a layer of safety that like, okay, well, I can kind of challenge them and hold them to account because they know that I don't mean, you know, I want them to be, you know, I want them to kind of succeed. But actually I can do that for somebody new as well. And I've got wisdom to offer people. And I never would have, if I'd heard myself say that 12 months ago, I'd have been like, shut up.
It's been so amazing to watch. It's like you really do lead yourself, and really high level business owners who really value your expertise. And I feel that when you first started working with me, you didn't believe how good you were. I remember you saying like you get people sending you feedback or really thanking you for the brilliant work that you've done, but you said like you didn't really feel it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I definitely like skimmed over any niceness or like nice comments or feedback, and I didn't absorb it. And I only really focused on, you know, like naturally there are going to be things, there are hiccups, there are things that, you know, there's miscommunication. I would really cling on to those things and think that defined the work I was doing for somebody, and imagined in my head that they were thinking about that for weeks and weeks on end, when actually it was really nice to have your perspective, you knowing me professionally and the work that I do for you, because you were able to be like, but yeah, but look at this stuff, like look at this side of it.
Yeah, it was actually a really cool dynamic, because if ever you were fretting or worrying about something, bringing like a mindset piece to me, I could be like, look, I am a self-led, action-taking, I don't like that phrase high-level client, but like,
yeah.
I'm always empowered in my mindset, and this is how I see it. So stop worrying, basically, because your clients are the clients who are right for you would not be thinking that.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. How would you describe what it is like to work with me on a one-to-one?
It's so interesting because there's so many parts to it, but I would say it feels like having like a deep level of support, way above and beyond like the surface level strategy or business mindset work that I've seen offered out there. Because the way that we work together, so Voxer has been completely game changing. So I've had probably bigger shifts in Voxer even than the one-to-one kind of conversations, because it means that at the point of something needing to be worked through, we can chat together and have a really deep conversation about that. And then if it needs extra support, we can have a one-to-one. And those one-to-one sessions, I had no idea what to expect, to be honest, but being able to like properly have time to reflect it, like go through and heal like past stuff, like think about me as a younger person, how I was like throughout my career, that like the timeline therapy was just like amazing at me working out and pinpointing exactly what it is that I'm dealing with now, that's something that's been carried from in the past. But yeah, the one-to-one support in Voxer is, it's not just like having a chit chat and someone reassuring you. Like yesterday, you sent like a list of those kind of reflective questions and journal prompts. And actually, I think we know that I know the answer already. And so you often see through things that I'm like putting to one side, and you know me so well that you can say like, I think you're probably going to figure this bit out on your own, here's some prompts to help. So yeah, it's intense. And that first month of us working together, it was called an intensive, and it was like a lot changed, a lot happened. Business kind of, I wouldn't even say like doubled, it kind of tripled within a month. And I would not have been able to handle that if I hadn't had kind of the support that I've had. And then looking for like, I jumped straight into having some more support with you until like early in next year, because I can see the next couple of months, and I know that through that the future me invests in support for that. It's not that I need it and it's not a dependency, it's that I know future me will be dealing with things that I want someone on side to be like, okay, what feels right for you, what are the right choices, and what feels, yeah, it's all about me personally, not like a business strategic move that doesn't actually align and in 6 months won't feel good.
Yeah, I love that point you made about like continuing to invest from a place of desire rather than need. And also like, you're amazing, and you're in a place where like you'd be grand, but you've got fire in you, and so you're carrying on with me to really hold you to what's possible from a place of ease and like inner safety. Like that's the key piece, because we can all create incredible success from a place of hustle and, you know, in sustainability. But what matters to me and most, like, and the reason why I do what I do is like, you get to have a really successful business, be really wealthy, change the world, and live like the very best life for you here and now. Like, we don't need to wait to enjoy our lives. It's about the here and the now. So let's enjoy it and let's create our success from a place of ease, because it doesn't have to be hard.
Yeah, totally.
I had one more question. Oh yeah. So to somebody who has never done subconscious work before and they're watching this, what would you say to them if they think, I'm in the same boat and I've never come across any of this work before, but I'm tempted? What would you say to somebody in that position?
Yeah, I would say definitely give it a go, because especially if you're the type of person that feels like they're a problem solver and they can learn things pretty quickly and they can pick things up, and you know, they've tried all the different like surface level strategies and techniques. I'm like a journaler, I'll listen to a podcast, I'll do like the surface level mindset stuff, and it got me so far. Like it did a lot, and it still does. Those are practices that I keep with me. But if you know that there's like a deeper level to it and it just sits a tiny bit below the surface where you can't quite like get it with a journal or prompt, or get it with like a little bit of mindfulness for the evening, if that's not cutting it, if there's something else going on there and you know that there's something more, I think it's that feeling of knowing that there's more out there for you, but you're standing in your own way. That's when this kind of work just like unlocks the door. And I would say it happens more quickly than you think as well with work that's as powerful as this. It's not like a lengthy process. It's not spending weeks and weeks like learning new things and having to like repetitively use techniques or something to feel a different way. Literally, we would jump off a call, I'd listen to my like hypnosis audio, and the next day like magical stuff would happen. There's no other way to describe it. We were on a call once mapping out what this ideal new offer would look like for me. It felt really brave, it felt stretchy, it felt like a whole new thing that I was a little bit scared of, and we were working through that. I got off the call to a voice note from an ideal client describing that service and asking if I offered it.
It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, and until that point, your subconscious didn't feel safe to do that, and that's the work that I do. It's like you consciously want all of these things, but if a subconscious is not in line with it, it doesn't feel safe, then you're going to hold yourself back. And then when we do the hypnosis or the NLP, whatever techniques I bring to the session, we create that safety so that your subconscious is in line and on board with the things that you want to feel and do. And so therefore you just don't hold yourself back anymore. And that resistance, that anxiety, that like nervousness feeling just goes, and you just go faster. So yeah, it's been amazing supporting you, and I'm so excited about like what is ahead. It's been incredible to watch you like literally just unlock yourself and fly. So celebrating you so much. Yeah, thank you for being here and watching this. And if you are watching, or actually I'm going to extract the audio from this and pop it over on the podcast as well. So if you're listening or watching and this has really resonated with you and you want some of this too, you want to step into the transformation and the feeling that Emily has in her business, so she's not holding herself back anymore and she's literally going for it. If you want that level of growth and inner confidence too, then I want you to DM me right now with the word freedom, and I will send you the information for us to work together. Thank you so much for watching / listening on the future podcast episode, and I will see you all soon. Thanks, Emily.
Thanks so much. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Bigger Than You podcast with your host, Jenna Holloway. If this episode has been valuable to you, please share it with a friend or leave a review.